What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS3 Raw TV. Today we're going to talk about keto and intermittent fasting. Now, why keto and intermittent fasting? I feel intermittent fasting is a good tool in the toolbox to get leaner, but I do feel that there's an optimal, most efficient way to do things, or the best way to do things. And we're going to talk about that right now, which I believe keto and intermittent fasting is the optimal way to do intermittent fasting. Now, I've been delving into Dr. Jason Fung has been doing some lectures about fasting in general and new science that's come out. He's a doctor, okay? So science, bro. It's science, bro. My buddy Don Poison turned me on to him recently, and I was kind of watching his stuff, and there's a lot of things I agree with Dr. Fung, and there's other things that, are applied to regular people that he's doing, but it's not being applied to high, I don't say how high output athletes, but high level athletes. Like a bodybuilder, although some people would say it's not an athletic event, the bodybuilding training itself is actually harder than just about every athletics that's out there, due to the fact that the off seasons are just intense, if not more intense than some of the contest preps. When people are trying to gain muscle and they can't, those off seasons can be just as intense as somebody that is doing a pre-contest. So whereas the average person who's even an intermediate, gym goer or a beginner, their metabolism is going to be a lot different. Their needs are a lot different. So we're going to focus on what we do, which is us, which is the bodybuilding, fitness, more advanced type training year round, and why intermittent fasting and keto go together. Now, intermittent fasting is where you have X amount of hours where you are fasting and X amount of hours where it's called the eating window, right? So you can go like an 8-hour eating window, the rest of the time you're fasting, a 6-hour eating window, the rest of the time you're fasting. You can do 20 and 4, so it's 20 hours fasting, 4. There's so many different ways to do it. But here's the thing. During this eating window, you are going to kick up anabolism. During the fasting window, you are going to go into catabolism. There is no way around it. And nobody talks about this. Dr. Fung actually didn't talk about this in the lecture that I watched. They forget. They always say stuff like, you have a storage for carbohydrates and glycogen, right? Your body can store them in the liver and muscles. We have body fat storage, stores it in the body fat, right? In the fat cells. We don't have a storage system for protein. Everybody says that. Your storage system for protein is your muscle mass, okay? You have an amino acid pool, which is a temporary storage. Those amino acids wind up getting turned into muscle, which is your storage, which your body can use muscle for energy. So technically, although it's not called upon first, like our two energy sources like fat and carbohydrates, or fat and glycogen, fat and carb, however you want to say it, we still have a storage. We still have energy on our bodies. If your body fat drops to a certain point, like think about those pictures of those concentration camps and stuff like that, right? They're so boned out because they don't have any muscle left. They didn't maintain their muscle mass. The muscle mass doesn't get maintained. The muscle mass gets chewed up and eaten and used for energy because you run out of fat and carbohydrates to the point where you're going to die and the body needs to survive. So we technically, although on paper don't have a storage place for protein, we do have a storage place for amino acids in muscle tissue. Now, that being said, the amino acid pool, okay, this is going to be very, very key in what we're talking about today. The amino acid pool is where amino acids are extracted out of the food that you eat. You eat protein, the aminos are extracted and they're stored in the amino acid pool. Now this amino acid pool turns over roughly every 3 hours, okay? So you've got about 3 hours worth of aminos after the last time you ate. Now this is science. Nobody's going to debate this. Many people don't know what the amino acid pool is. They don't even realize that it exists. However, it is there. So you eat protein, it extracts the amino acids, puts the amino acids in the amino acid pool as they're needed for whatever processes need, muscle gain, tissue repair, hair, skin, nails, whatever it is. It pulls from those amino acid pools within that 3 hours. After that 3 hours, it's depleted. Now, some people, it's before 3 hours. It just depends on the individual. How do you know? There's really no way to know. But they know by studies that 3 hours was the longest out of any of the people that were studied, that the amino acid pool actually had aminos before it was depleted. Now, if you're depleted in amino acids and your body now says, well, I need amino acids. I need to repair this, whatever it is. I need to repair hair, I need to repair skin, I need to repair tattoo healing, I need to repair muscle tissue, whatever it is. Here's the crazy thing about your body. It doesn't say, well, I don't have any, so I'll just wait around. It doesn't do that at all. What it does is actually start tapping into muscle tissue, breaking down muscle tissue, getting the amino acids. Now you're already losing muscle tissue to get those amino acids, then using those amino acids to repair what it thinks it needs to repair, plus if there's anything left over, which is not, to repair the muscle that you already lost. So technically, you're kind of just spinning your wheels until it gets to the point where you're burning so much muscle tissue to repair or for energy that your body can't keep up with even maintaining the muscle mass. Then you lose muscle mass. Now, if you have an eating window, right, of let's say 18 hours, right? That's 18 hours. That's 15 hours longer than your body has amino acids. It no longer has them. So if you literally 15 hours, think about what happens in 15 hours. Then you have an eating hour window of, let's say, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, so you have an eating window of 5 hours, right? That 5 hours, you think that the anabolism is going to last after that. After you digest that food, you only have 3 more hours of amino acids that are going to be in the amino acid pool. But your body's going to use those amino acids very quickly because it's depleted and the muscle mass is actually being depleted at the same time to be used for energy. So it's going to use those right away to do what it needs to build back up to, which will just basically bring you back to baseline if you're lucky. But you need now, for the next, you're going back on an 18-hour fast. You're looking at another 15, 14, 13, 12, another 12 hours because we give it 3 hours after the eating window ends for the amino acid deplete. Another 12 hours of catabolism. And you're doing that day in, day out. That 12 hours can't be reversed by that one eating window. Now, here's where keto comes into play. If you're on a keto diet, right, you don't have any carbohydrates. No carbohydrates, right? You're cutting your carbohydrates out. So what you have now is ketones. Right? You have ketones. Now there's like an unlimited supply of ketones in your body. I mean, you have enough body fat. Nobody's got going to run out of ketones. I mean, unless you're like super genetically have some kind of problem or something. So you have ketones. Your body's using those ketones when it needs energy. It's not tapping into protein. Okay? It doesn't have carbohydrates. It's not going to tap into protein. It's not going to tap into muscle mass. It's going to use the ketones because there's plenty of them available on your body. Now, those eating windows, or those fasting, we have 18 hours of fasting. During that time, your body has another source of fuel in keto via the ketones than it does if you were on a carbohydrate-based diet. So you literally have a harder time tapping into muscle tissue if you're on the ketogenic diet. Having an unlimited source of fuel on your body so it can literally use something for energy anytime it needs it, whether it's just breathing, wiping your nose, walking out to get the mail, whatever, anything, just living. Ketones are the perfect, your brain can use them. It's the perfect energy source. Once your body's adapted into ketosis, you can use ketones very easily. However, if you're not adapted to ketones, when you start to do the intermittent fasting and these eating windows start taking place and the fasting windows start taking place, this is the problem. This is why you don't see big people or people gain a lot of muscle. I should say it like that. People gain a lot of muscle using intermittent fasting. Most of the people using intermittent fasting are very small. And I don't say that as a bad thing, right? It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's intermittent fasting for most people that are not loaded on drugs, which change the whole factors, honestly is a great way to maintain their body weight. It keeps them small. That's basically what it does. It's a tool in the box with like everything else as far as intermittent fasting goes. But keto, if you have a constant supply and you're not going to tap into muscle tissue, you are much more likely to maintain your muscle mass. Could you gain muscle mass? Well, here's the problem. If you're increasing your protein to gain muscle mass to basically support the new metabolically active tissue, muscle tissue, you're now trying to figure out how much exactly more you need without converting it into glucose to knock you out of keto. How do you know that? We don't. There's no formula for that. Everybody's body is different. We have no fucking clue, no concept. We have guesses that people have put out there and now they're just fact because they've been there for so long, but nobody really knows how much more. Mike Metzer theorized it was 4 grams of protein. You need 4 extra grams of protein above what your maintenance is to actually build new muscle tissue. How many of us have done 4 grams? Most people throw at least 1 scoop of protein in there or an extra chicken breast. We boosted so much. That could be enough to throw you out of keto. Okay, so there's so many things, like you're controlling hormones, you're stopping catabolism. There's so many things that we can get into. We will be getting into them in the very near future. We got the new marker board. The other one finally fell apart. So we got the new marker board. So we're going to be delving into some of the stuff about fasting, intermittent fasting, keto, cycle keto, the different types of things, because I do believe, honestly, in my heart of hearts, that science, logic, and bro science all work together. Like, those things need to work together to get optimal results. Like, you can't just pick science, you can't just pick bro science, you can't just pick whatever the fuck you come up with just for the fuck of it, and just follow it because you follow it. If it's, logic, bro science, and science together, in that combination, you're going to get better results. This is what we use at Biology Training. We try to use everything all together as a holistic approach rather than being on one end of the spectrum or the other. And every single time that guarantees faster, more efficient, better results. BiologyTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biotraining.com is the blog. It's the Keto Intermittent Fasting Bicep, and we are out.